This video is brought to you by Artistworks. Artistworks are part of True5 Studios, and they offer direct access to master musicians through their innovative online learning platform. Partnering with iconic musicians, they've crafted decades of industry experience into guided paths of online lessons. Crucially, there's an option to get personal feedback tailored specific to your playing via their unique video exchange. Get direct guidance towards your playing goals. You can use the code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of Artistworks courses. So I've got a slightly unusual gig for me coming up tonight, and I've got basically I'm playing rhythm guitar for most of it through kind of like disco-y type stuff where it's very much kind of clean guitar based stuff, and I thought I want some extra options to kind of bring some life to those clean guitar parts because I'm playing the gig in ears, and so I decided that the HELIX might be my best bet for this. Rather than kind of putting together a pedal board that had loads of extra stuff on it, which I've kind of run out of time for, I thought I'd dial in a preset on this. Now, kind of a few tips for this. First of all, you probably want to plan this out a little bit ahead of time. So think about whether you're going to be using snapshots, or predominantly for me on this one, I'm going to use it more or less like a pedal board. So I've got on the second page where you press kind of preset or mode or whatever it is, I'm going to be using it basically in stomp mode. And then there's one other switch that I'm going to use to go between clean and solo. I don't think I've got any solos on this gig, so that's probably not going to get used a whole ton. And maybe also think about how you could use the expression pedals. So for me personally, the way that I've got it set up is that it's going to increase the mix of one of my delay blocks. I don't really need it for anything else. I think this is going to be my most efficient thing that I could take because it's only going to need the one plug, and on a 10-piece gig it's going to be a little bit tricky. The other thing is that it's an in-ear gig, so do make sure that you actually listen to your preset through your ears to make sure that it's doing things that you want it to do, because these things are nowhere near as forgiving as studio monitors and can ruin your gig. Now, I'm not expecting to have a great time with these in general anyway. I'm not really a huge fan of in-ears, and I don't have a great molded pair, but that's a thing. Also, I've got this set up so that I could send out of one into an amp. Now, make sure you try that as well so that you've got an idea of what it's going to sound like and that you're not getting any nasty surprises, like maybe your drive tones are boosting really heavily into the front of an amp, whereas on the actual HELIX, because it's going into an amp with different settings, a modeled amp, which is going to front of house for me, maybe that's going to be more compressed and have less of a boost. So just check that. I think I'm going to have the option of an amp on stage, but I'm not exactly sure what the setup's going to be. So I want it to be kind of flexible. And if I need an amp, I've got one in the car. If not, I can just use this straight to front of house and into my ears, and hopefully it'll be a good time. So make sure you try with actual headphones. Make sure you play through the set, maybe into the rig that you're going to be hearing it, and try playing at a loud volume. For me, I tend to set things a little bit darker, especially if I know that I'm going to be using in-ears, because these can sound really, really thin and nasty. I don't know, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have you tried doing this? Did you like it? Did you not? I'm not going to tell you that it sounds as good as if you set up a really nice pedal board with all of your kind of modulations and phasers and bits and pieces like that, but this is super functional. It's taken me not too long to set up, and not only that, it's repeatable, right? I could take this to another gig, I can make little changes, and yeah, it doesn't have to affect my real pedal board or whatever. Let me know your thoughts. And I wanted to put together a preset that would work for the majority of the set. Now, basically, this is a set where I'm mostly playing clean guitar, so I wanted to have a few options around making like a big sort of clean sound. It's going to be an in-ear gig, so I thought the HELIX might be the best thing for this job because, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to expect. I'll have an amp in the car, but I'm assuming that we might not have loads of setup time, so this might be a better way to go. So I'm going to have a dual amp part down on this block because I want to use this part here for a few different options around effects, essentially. So I think what I'm going to do is use the matchless, but set relatively clean, and with the E906, which my boy Johnny Welk kind of turned me on to. Okay, right, let's take a look at the settings on the actual amp itself. By the way, a little tip, you can get bigger images like that. So I'm going to take off the cut, I think. Actually, one thing I found I quite like is changing the cab for, where's it gone? Open cast. This is the EV style speaker. And because it's an in-ear gig, I'm going to kind of have a preference for darker tones. So I'm going to use a high cut, kind of down to maybe 5.5 as a starting point, which is just going to take the hair off the top. And then, what else? I'm going to add in, I think, maybe the litigator, just because I know that that's a fairly reliable little model that I dig. Where have you gone? Here you are. I'll put this down here. Make sure the split's in the right place. And I'm not going to pan them because I'm pretty sure I'm going to only have mono going on in my ears anyway. Right, let's change this cab as well to the open cab. Okay, and then same move with the high cut. So this is going to be my the bedrock of what's going on, I think. But basically clean cleans. Okay, right, now up front, I'm going to put a bit of a compressor because that can really help with this stuff. I want to kind of turn it into a... might just take these down a smidge so that we're not necessarily driving as much as that. Okay, right, so now we've got a compressor which I'm going to assign to our first foot switch 1. Now I'm definitely going to need a delay, so let's go into our model delay. So for like juice maybe, so it needs to be a kind of onto a click. I don't know, maybe bucket, maybe not. And time based. And I'm going to take the mix down a bit and take the headroom up. Right, so that's the delay for that kind of thing, because I definitely need that. And we'll take the noise down maybe. And I'll probably keep trails on and assign that one to foot switch 2. Nice, right, so that works for that. I'm going to keep that bypass most of the... Right, now I need some sort of drive to get things going, so let's just think about what we could use here. Things that could work nicely. Maybe the SD. So I need like a rhythm type tone. Okay, that works really nicely. So I'm going to put that down onto the bottom foot switch number 5, I think. 7. Yes, so that'll be a drive for when I want to get into rhythm. Right, that's going to be bypassed most of the time. Okay, other things that I might need then. So that's going to cover like my rhythm toes. Just keeping it simple, I guess, is mostly what I'm doing here. So I'm going to add in things like phases and flanges just for fun. Also, another thing I wanted to add actually, and we'll do that up here before things get too crowded, is a pitch block. We'll go with poly pitch or poly capo, go up an octave. So I've got that as an option because this is a thing that I think can really work to bring some life to some guitar parts. So bypass controller aside, we'll put this on the far right. So over here, and don't want to mix that high because it's getting a little bit latency-ish there. So let's have it. But I want that to be before this stuff. Right, so that works, and that works. Now, yeah, as I said, some phases. And we probably need like a simple kind of delay which is less characterful than that one. Let's go first of all with options for phases and flanges, which work really nicely for kind of bringing some life to some clean tones. So maybe we'll go script mod, that's a classic. Yeah, just stock settings seem to work for that. So put that up on bypass controller assign, switch 4. Okay, and we'll keep that bypass for now. Okay, that adds something, and then I think we might have a space for a couple of other things up here. So maybe a flanger, if we can find one. I'm keeping all of this mono because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a mono send or like into the desk, or certainly to my ears. So I don't want any kind of weird phasing issues. Let's go with the grey flanger. Okay, and then assign that to a foot switch, which we'll put down on the right hand side. I think it pays to sort of think about your setup before you go into this a little bit and think about, well, what do you want at your feet? Okay, and I'm going to program, I think, like a little solo switch in, which is going to take advantage of a few different bits and pieces. So what could we do? I need to send a send out from here as well. So we'll do that first. So this could go to my out of send 1. So this would be what I'd chuck to the front of my amps, if that makes sense. So, or amp on stage, so that I can just plug this into an amp and have like a pedal board on here, and then that go into front of house. So that would kind of work. So other things I'm gonna think about here. So I could put something here as well if I have any. So I might chuck another delay down here, which would be a little bit more like just a straightforward. You know, in case I wanted just like a normal kind of delay. Let's also have that being interacting with the click, and I'll put that one next to my other delay. So foot switch 3, we've got a simple delay, we've got an Adriatic delay, and now let's think about maybe a reverb. Actually, we've got space for get in a mono reverb. So let's think about what might work. We're in ears. So something relatively subtle. Might help. Right, so let's just save this. Pedal board. And what have we got? So we got our poly capo, we've got one drive here. Let's have another option for drive, and then we'll kind of wrap this up, because I think I can cover basically the gig with this. I'm thinking maybe an error pattern. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Undo that. here we select the empty block first and chuck in air apparent maybe. And if we put this down onto switch, foot switch 8, that's next to our other drive. Okay, and then last of all, we could program a solo switch of some form, maybe. And I might do this with the command center. Yeah, window, command center. So snapshot 1, I've got this foot switch here free. And I'm going to take this to switch us to snapshot 2. So this will be kind of a solo switch. And then once I'm in snapshot 2, program what I want to be on, which I think is going to be that's too much delay coming through there because it's in front of the amps. And if I'm using that much gain, another thing I might do would be to go into here and just bring the snapshot behavior in so that that kind of lowers down. Because in ears, I'm going to guess I'm going to be very sensitive to the kind of top end of stuff. Snapshot 2. Right, so now snapshot 2, and once we're in snapshot 2 though, go back to our command center, and we want this to go take us to snapshot 1. So we've got kind of a toggle switch there. So snapshot 1, when we press it, takes us to snapshot 1, which I want this to be bypassed for. So let me just save. I might have to save it every time I make a change actually. And then I press, go to the command center, snapshot 1, 2, sorry, solo. So then save. And we'll go to snapshot 2. And we might also want to bring in the noise gate for this. Okay, and so we need to then save that again. Okay, and I go into the command center, and here this behavior needs to go back to snapshot 1. Okay, and then we save again. And I might rename snapshot solo and save. And this one clean. And I think that'll cover me for the gig. I'm pretty sure. So that's what I was using in the introduction. It's basically sort of a kitchen sink type approach, trying to keep things really simple, but when I need I'm not sure that I'm loving that delay though. Right, let's just save that a second. Okay. And I've got a couple of gain stages. And I can kick on some delay if I need it. So I think that'll cover me, I'm hoping. So yeah, jump into the Gumroad folder if you want to check that out and give it a try yourself. I think we still got some DSP free to try other things. We've got that polycapo in there to sort of do a POG type thing. I think this could be fun. I think this should cover me on the gig, totally. Thank you for stopping by. That's a fairly simple way, I guess, that you could replace your pedal board with the HELIX. If you're looking to do that. One really quick thing to think about here. First of all, one of the things that I was noticing was that I had the gate set a little bit too high. So just, if you're finding that it's kind of interfering with your kind of playing response, try dropping that threshold down. So it was by default at -48. I've dropped it to -66 and it just feels a bit better. If you've got a couple of drive pedals, think about the order that you're stacking them in. You're hearing it through my amp at the moment, so the SD1, the air apparent. Okay, now if I go SD1 into air apparent, quite a big boost. Now if I put the air apparent instead before the SD1, I get more of what I'm looking for, I think. So I'm just going to save that. So just think about your drive order. So now my clean. I think that'll do the job.